There is a version of you that exists only in silence. It speaks when no one is listening. It repeats, goes back, rewrites. It carries within it conversations that never happened and arguments that may never occur. This version lives in the space between what you show and what you feel. If you recognize yourself in this story, know that you are not alone. Feel free to share your experience in the comments if needed. It's not about overthinking. It's not about anxiety or disorder. It's simply the quiet, constant work your mind does when the outside world isn't watching. These are things people do in their heads, common, human, and rarely spoken aloud. Talking to yourself as if someone were listening. You're talking to yourself. Not out loud, usually, but internally, a voice comments, justifies, explains. And sometimes it speaks as if someone else were present, as if you were being interviewed, as if your thoughts needed an audience to be understood. This isn't madness, it's organization. The mind appreciates structure, even in solitude. So it creates an audience, imaginary, invisible, patient. Someone who nods in agreement while you analyze what happened today or what might happen tomorrow. Someone who never interrupts you. And in this space, you become both the speaker and the witness. You hear yourself thinking, and in a way, this gives reality to your thoughts. The conversation continues, looping until the outside world brings you back to reality. But the voice remains, waiting for the next moment of silence. This silent dialogue doesn't need permission. It simply exists like breathing, replaying old dialogues while trying to say what was missing. There are conversations that never truly ended. They haunt your mind like unfinished scenes, replaying endlessly despite yourself. You return to them not out of desire, but because an inner voice tells you they are incomplete. A word left unsaid, a tone misinterpreted, a silence heavy with meaning, so you rewrite them. You hear their voices again, as clear as before, and this time you react differently, more calmly, more incisively, more honestly. The version of yourself in the memory finally expresses what your true self couldn't say. And for a moment, it's like a conclusion, even though nothing has changed outside your mind. But the mind doesn't distinguish between what happened and what one might have wished for. It dwells on the past as if it were still possible to correct course. The dialogue shifts, the ending becomes blurred, and one leaves with a feeling of lightness mixed with a strange sense of emptiness. These rewritings do not erase the original. They simply coexist with it, discreet and persistent, to imagine perfect solutions for situations that never happen. You prepare yourself for conversations that may never happen, for arguments you'll never have, for confrontations that exist only in your imagination. Yet your mind scripts them phrase by phrase, moment by moment, as if repetition could protect you from the unpredictable. In these imagined exchanges, you remain unperturbed, articulate, untouchable. You anticipate their words before they even speak. You reply with precision. You leave victorious, your convictions strengthened, finally understood. It's a performance without a stage, without an audience, without stakes, and yet it seems necessary. The strangest thing is how real it becomes. You feel the tension in your chest, the adrenaline of a conflict that never happened. Your body reacts to the fiction as if it were reality. And when the imagined moment fades, all that remains are the traces of a fight that never existed. These repetitions are a kind of armor, fragile, invisible, and never truly necessary, creating alternative versions of oneself in a silent environment. You create other versions of yourself discreetly, without shouting it from the rooftops. In one instance, you are more courageous. In another, you are freed from the burden of your choices. These alternative personalities live in the background of your mind, parallel to the life you actually lead. These aren't fantasies, strictly speaking. They're possibilities you didn't seize. The version of yourself who had quit your job up earlier, the one who had dared to speak up at the crucial moment, the one who had remained silent to avoid the consequences. You don't fully inhabit them. You only pass through them briefly to glimpse what that life could have been. Sometimes these versions seem more real than they should be. We find ourselves thinking with their voices, comparing our current reality to the one they imagined. It's not regret, not really. It's more curiosity, a mental experiment unfolding in secret, exploring paths we haven't taken. These other facets of yourself are not judging you. They are simply there, like reminders of the paths that silently fork with each decision, to revisit minor errors as if they were recurring scenes. There are moments you keep replaying in your mind, moments no one else remembers. A comment made 5 years ago, an awkward glance, a small mistake that meant nothing to anyone but you. And yet, your mind keeps returning to it like a film reel stuck on the same frame. These memories return without warning. They surface unexpectedly in Zeersash before going to sleep in the middle of some unrelated task. Suddenly, you're there again, with that same wave of embarrassment, that same lump in your throat. You replay the scene over and over, analyzing it, wondering if the other person is still thinking about it. Probably no, but you are. The mind treats these small errors as evidence. Evidence of something indefinable, a deficiency, perhaps, or simply the fact of being seen. It therefore retains these images, archived and accessible, ready to resurface as soon as silence allows. The scenes never resolve. They repeat themselves, fading each time, but never completely disappearing. These moments bear witness to a version of yourself that you would prefer to forget, but that you cannot seem to let go of. Anticipating the judgments of others before even speaking. You hear their response before you even open your mouth. Your mind anticipates their reaction, rehearses their disappointment, predicts their judgment. This happens in the space between thought and speech, a silent simulation where you submit every word to an invisible jury. It's not paranoia, it's anticipation. You're trying to predict how you'll be perceived, the impact of your words, whether they'll confirm what others already think of you. So you censor yourself before the world even has a chance to. You soften your words, you adjust your tone. Sometimes you refrain from saying anything at all. The strangest thing is that often this tribunal exists only in your imagination. The people you're preparing for may not even be judging you, but the apprehension is so real that it influences your words. You become both the accused and the prosecutor, pleading a case that no one else is listening to. These preemptive judgments are exhausting, and most of them never happen outside of your mind, repeating simple decisions as if they were major choices. You hesitate for a long time about things that don't require it. What should you say in a text message? Should you attend an event? How do you make a simple request? These aren't life-changing choices, but your mind treats them as if they were, weighing the pros and cons, calculating the risks, evaluating consequences that may never happen. It's not indecision per se. It's more of a mental rehearsal. You run through different scenarios, test different responses, prepare for unpredictable reactions. You imagine saying yes, then no. You consider both options, searching for the one that seems safest, the one with the least risk of creating tension or regrets. And in this process, a seemingly insignificant choice becomes complicated. The burden lies not in the decision itself, but in the time and space devoted to it. Once the preparation is complete, the opportunity has often passed or the choice has already been made. All that remains is the echo of all that mental effort expended for something insignificant. These repetitions reveal how seriously you take the simple fact of existing among others, developing internal narratives to explain the behavior of others. You invent stories for people you barely know. A colleague's silence becomes evidence of a deeper problem. A friend's delayed response transforms into a tale of distance, disappointment, or change. Lacking concrete evidence, your mind fills the gaps with meanings plausible, coherent, and entirely constructed. These stories aren't malicious. They're your mind's attempt to make sense of ambiguity. Humans struggle with uncertainty, so you connect what you observe with what you imagine. Their tone changes, and you invent an explanation. Their behavior evolves, and you find a cause. The story seems true because it's the only one you have, but these stories belong to you. The person you portray may be living a completely different reality, simpler, unrelated to your own, or too complex for your version to grasp. Yet the story persists, shaping your perception of it, your reactions, your way of understanding what comes next. These internal explanations allow you to find your way in a world you cannot fully understand, using imagination as a temporary refuge from the present. Sometimes we escape, not physically. We stay exactly where we are at our desk, in the middle of a conversation on public transport, but our mind wanders. It drifts to a gentler, calmer, more forgiving place. A memory, a fantasy, a less demanding version of the present. This isn't escapism in the destructive sense. It's a breath of fresh air, a brief respite your mind grants itself when the present feels too heavy or too dreary. You imagine yourself somewhere else, someone else, or simply feeling something different. This escape lasts only a few seconds, perhaps a few minutes, before reality catches up with you. But in this respite, there is relief. The world keeps turning, but you have withdrawn just for a moment. No one notices. No one needs to. It's a private escape, a mental refuge where you retreat when the noise becomes unbearable or the silence too oppressive. These small breaks allow you to survive the burden of a constant presence, keeping thoughts secret that will never be expressed. There are thoughts we bury deep inside, not because they are dangerous or shameful, but because they are too frank, too raw, too intimate to survive outside our minds. These are the unvarnished truths we carry within us about ourselves, about others, about what we truly feel when no one asks questions. These thoughts don't demand to be shared. They exist in a space beyond language, beyond judgment, beyond the need for validation. So marquant, others are harsh. Some are simply observations you've made that the world isn't ready to hear, or that you aren't ready to defend. So they remain within you, witnesses to yourself alone, and perhaps that's where they belong. Not all thoughts need to be shared. Not all truths need to be spoken. The mind has a right to its privacy, to its unfathomable depths, to its silent wisdom. These secret thoughts prove that you are far richer than you show, and that's not a flaw. It's simply human. They remain silent and unshared, an integral part of who you are when no one else is watching. These aren't confessions. They're confirmations. Small, silent behaviors that reside on the fringes of our daily thoughts, invisible, unspoken, yet deeply pervasive. You are not alone in these inner conversations. These scenes you replay endlessly. These alternative versions you imagine, nor these thoughts you choose to hold on to. This is simply what it means to have a mind that processes information, protects itself, and prepares to carry within oneself an inner world as real as the outer world, even if no one else perceives it. There is no disorder or flaw here, just the quiet, constant murmur of humanity. And perhaps by recognizing these patterns, we gain a kind of permission to let our minds function as they do without pathologizing them, to understand that these mental habits are not a sign of a problem, but rather of something living. If this has resonated with you, consider subscribing. There's still so much to discover in the quiet spaces we all inhabit.